guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this. Making it for a little girl. Is like a uniform shorts here, but it has this skirt, it has this flap over it like a skirt. So this is the back, but this one is too short for the girl, so now I'm making another one for her. So this is the one they brought for me to see, so I'm making this new one for her. So first thing I did here is just to cut out my fabric and then folded it into two. So this is the fabric here. I'm going to fold it into two this way, and then the next thing is the width. So her hip measurement is 31 divided by 4 is going to be about 7.75. so what I did is just to add, just make it 8 inches, and then so now I'm going to mark that. And then you need about 2 inches for the crotch, and then that's basically it. So next thing I'm going to do is to go up to this part here and measure from her waist to her hip. So from her waist to her hip is going to be about 7 inches. I'm just going to mark that here. So mark that 7 inches and rule a straight line there. So guys, the first line I have here is her waist, and then her waist to her hip, which is at 7. And then to get her crotch line, what I'm going to do is just her hip measurement divided by 4, which, like I told you guys already, her hip is 31 divided by 4 is going to be 7.75. So I'm just going to approximate it to about 8 inches. But guys, now you know how you're going to calculate this, right? So basically whatever her waist is, so I'm just going to do 7.75, which is just 7.75 inch below the hip line, you see. So basically this line, this first line is just her waist to her hip. The second line is just her crotch line, which to get the crotch line, you're going to divide round her hip measurement by 4. Whatever you get is going to be the length you're going to put from this beginning to that point. And then now the next thing you're going to do is that, so this her hip measurement divided by 4 that I got already, I'm going to rule a straight line all the way up so that it can go up this way, right? Once that is done, the next thing you're going to do is now to divide this 7.75 that I got as a hip for her hip divided by 4. I'm going to divide it by 4 again and put it here. You understand? So now once you put it here, this is going to be your crotch. You're going to give it a curve. Maybe you will get 1.5 or you will get 2 point something. Just whatever you get, that's going to be your crotch. I'm just giving you guys all the calculation you're going to need so that you'll not be confused. So basically, first thing, you fold your fabric into 2, put it here, insert her waist to her hip, and then you insert her waist to her crotch. So this first line is her waist to her hip, this second one is her waist to her crotch. And how to get the crotch one is just to divide her hip measurement round her hip divided by 4. That's how you get this one. So once you get this one, what you're going to do is whatever you have on this line, divide it by 4 again. That's how you get this smaller part. So that's basically all this smaller part is this point to this point. That's how you're going to get it. Guys, as you can see, I've not said anything about seam allowance, because the seam allowance is going to come to the back. You understand? So now, but if you want it to be a little bit free on her, when you divide the hip by 4, you can go ahead and add ½ inch to it. You understand? Because it's that same hip measurement divided by 4 that we have here, and then we have also by the waist. So the same measurement is what we have all over. So now let me go ahead and cut it. So guys, you see what I did here is just to draw this line straight down. And then after the line straight down, the next thing I did is just to cut off this part here. So I'm going to take this away. This is now my pants. I'm going to split this into 2. And then I know I have my 2 front panel. So these 2 here will be my front panel. And what you're going to do is you're going to take it the way it is now and bring another fabric that is going to serve as the back of the pants. Place it, and then you're going to take it and put it on top. The one you're going to use for the front panel, make sure you have 1 inch at the top here. So that 1 inch is going to serve as the back of the pant, because remember the back of the pant is always supposed to be longer than the front. So I have at least 1 inch at the top here. And then what you're going to do next is just to come to this crotch line now. I'm going to extend it. You can do extension by 1.5, you can do 2 inches depending on you. But 2 inches will be too much. So 1 inch, 1.5 is okay, because like I said, this is for a child. This is like a 7-year-old. So extend this line, and then I'm going to cut it off at 1.5 inch. 1.5 because I'm still going to take away ½ inch from this same for seam allowance. So I'm going to just mark that here. And then the next thing I'm going to do is go up at the back here and do extension of 2 inches. This is now my seam allowance, you understand? So this extension I'm putting in here, this 2 inches now is going to serve as my seam allowance for sewing this here. So you're going to extend from this end of this front panel 2 inches in distance in between all of them, and then give it a curve. Now this is my curve, and then I'm going to extend it all the way to the top. And then once you extend it like that, you're going to this, you see where the front panel stops, this is it here. I have extension of 1 inch at the top here. So what I'm going to do is that extension, I'm going to blend it into the end of this band. So from that peak, I'm going to bring it down to meet the length, the waist of this front panel here. So you see where my front panel is, I cut that 1 inch. I just need the highest point of that 1 inch to be at the center back. And then I'm going to blend it into the side because all these sides will still meet each other. So now all I have to do is just to go ahead and cut it off. So guys, you see what I did here? I cut out this part, and then the rest of the pants, I just cut off from the side. I blended it into wherever my front panel starts, which is here. I just blend it into that part, you see? So from the edge of my front panel to this point is where the crotch is. There's no need for excess in front because you don't want the leg of the pants to be too tight, to be too big on the child. So you at least you want it to be a little bit put together, right? So that's why you can't keep it straight down, because if I keep it straight down this way as the crotch, the leg of the pant, then the opening will be too wide. So now I'm going to remove the excess and also cut off this at the top. So guys, all I have to do now is just to take the front panel, join the crotch, take the back panel, join the crotch. So guys, as you can see, I joined the 2 back panels together, the 2 sides of the back, and then I just picked a tiny dart that is like half an inch. That's 2.5 on this side, 2.5 on this side. You don't have to do this. This is just me trying to give it more shape. You don't have to put any darts. And then you go ahead and put in the band. The band is basically, I cut 2 of these, as long as you think you would need, but I just cut excess, and then it's 3.5 inches of height, of width, sorry. So when I fold it into 2, this is what I had, and then to pass elastic. So you see the back is done. So all I have to do now is just to pull this together this way, and then I'll have my elastic at the back, right? Just pull it together to have the elastic at the back. And then for the front, I'm going to set that aside. And then for the front, this is what I did. The same thing, I joined it by the crotch side, hemmed it, and then the same dart, I put it, like I said, this dart is not even up to 1 inch dart, it's like half an inch total. Like, just I pinched up a little fabric and darted it. It's like 4 inches of length. So now, this is what it looks like, right? But what you notice here is that I pinned away this bottom part of it because I needed to pin it out so that I can cut the skirt thing in front. So when I pin this away, this way, I pin it this way, and then I place this way here. So this is what this one looks like now. So I folded the fabric into 2 and then placed it on top and cut it. So this is it here. So this is going to be the skirt. So guys, now, so this is now the skirt part. The reason why I did it is because, the reason why I folded this to cut it is because I didn't want to put a dart in the skirt part. I just want it to be, the waist part to just be free. Since I've already put the dart on the pant, so now it makes this skirt part have some shape to it. So you notice there's a curve here and then there's a curve here flaying out, right? So now all I have to do is just to take this here the way it is, and then I'm going to take it, go to the waist and join it to the waist. So you can just join it using 1/4 of an inch because you still be adding the band to it. So this is just to hold it down. So you're going to take it the way it is now and just use 1/4 of an inch to hold it by the waist part of it. And then after you've done that, then you can go ahead now and take your band and join it to it. But before, so this is going to be my band. But before I join my band to it, I'm going to come over to this side, right? if you want, you can even cut off 1 inch on one side, depending on the side where you want to be open. Just know that one side of this skirt is going to be stitched to the body of this clothes, going into the seam allowance, but the other side of it, you want to have at least 1 inch before the end. So you want it to stop at least 1 inch before the end of the skirt. It's not going to go into the side seam, and then it still has to have at least 1 inch before it gets to where the side seam joins. You understand? So that means I'm going to be cutting away some of this here on one side, right? So I'm going to be cutting away some of this on one side. So I'm going to first cut off 1 inch here, fold away 1 inch this way, cut that off, and then the next 1 inch is just the one I'm going to use to hem, fold this edge away. You understand? So I'm not going to cut off everything because I still need to leave some, so that I'll use that to fold away this edge here, because you don't want it to be rough. So I'm going to just go ahead and cut that out. That means the waist shape that we were cutting is just for one side, just to follow. You see now it follows the shape of this side, curving from this top part down, but this other side now is straight. You understand? So all I have to do is just to take it, fold this in this way all the way to the end, so that I'll have a clean finish here, and then I'll take my band and join it to the waist of both the band and this all the way to the end here. So guys, you see, this is it here. So this band here, this is now, I instead of using stitch to sew this down, I just use glue, you know, fabric glue, this day I use this, just ironed it inside of this and covered it up, just so I can get like a clean finish here. But guys, you can always just stitch it. This is just me being extra. So this is done this way, and then I'm going to take, you see the back, my elastic, I've cut off enough. Guys, I know someone might ask me, how much elastic do you need? Guys, I just use, I eyeball it basically, but it's always less than half their waist measurement, because remember, this is just the back, so it's always less than half of the waist. So now I'm going to take this one now, because if you use just half of her waist, it's going to be too big. So maybe you can do half of their waist minus 3 inches or so. So now, or 2 inches. So this is it here. I'm going to now take this here. You see, before this, my band didn't get to the end. If you want, you can even stop yours where your dart is. It depends on you how much coverage you want in front of the skirt. So now I'm going to take, but before you do that, also remember to fold the end of your, this end here also needs to be folded, right? Because once you close this up, you can't go back and change it. So you need to close up this one, fold this away this way, and then take the back of your pants and then join it, because it needs to be sewn, so that when you join the side of the back of the pant together this way, then you will not have to go back again to fold it, because this is already stitched inside. You understand? So I'm going to take this now, sew a straight seam here, and then sew a straight seam on this side. This side doesn't have a problem because the band doesn't get to the end here. And then once I do that, I'm going to just pull this up here, and then join the crotch of the pant to the crotch of the pant. Come back on this side this way, come back on this side this way, and then hem the opening of each of the leg of my pant and flip it out. So I'm going to do mine now and bring it back so you guys would see. So guys, this is it here. So this is done. This is what it looks like. If you're making it in an adult form, it's basically the same. You just have to make the shorts just like you're making it for an adult, except maybe the back you raise it up by about maybe 2 inches, the crotch you extend it. Just the same way I calculated for her is how you're going to calculate for the adult, except for the upper, to increase the crotch and the back, instead of using 1 inch, you might have to do about 2 inches or 2.5, depending on how big the adult is. And then for an adult, you can even, this flappy skirt part of it, you can just put a tie at the edge here, and then also put a tie from this side. You understand? Like, instead of sewing it to enter into the band, fold the edge how you folded the edge of this one. You understand? So the beginning of this would be like this and be like this. That one you can unwrap it, just put like a tie, a long belt thing here, and then also insert a belt inside of the seam allowance on this other side. So when you bring the two of them together, you tie this one to this one, and then the belt will just drop, but you will not sew this part of it into the band. You You understand? The band, you just sew it to the pants itself. That's a different style if you're making it. This is just for a uniform, and then this is the back, what it looks like. So that's basically it here. So thank you guys so much for your time, and I'll see you in my next video. Please guys, like, share and subscribe. Bye.